Industrial Industries World Radio.
Hey yo, alright my homies and homie S's. It's time to hit 88 miles an hour and head back in time and figure out where the birthday and the birthday party, where it all came from and how it started with the history of birthdays and birthday parties. So strap in and let's go. Birthdays seem to be something people feel less enthusiastic as time goes on. We were brought into the world knowing that each year on the day that you were born, they're celebrated as you move on into another year of life. As a kid, having parties celebrating your day of birth is decorated with cakes, favors, gifts, music, activities, and more with friends and family. Birthdays are the most personal of holidays because it's the one day where it makes another notch into your age as a human, and at some ages grants you things you weren't able to have at an earlier age. Whether it's just a simple happy birthday wish from a coworker or a message online, to a full-on week bash with friends and family, a birthday is something that should always be seen as special. As some people just see it as just another day, and some other people see it as the greatest day of the year, we're going to be looking at all things birthdays. So when you celebrate a birthday, what do you think about? You think about the cake, you think about the candles, you think about people singing the song, opening up presents, party favors, so on and so on. But we're going to break the parts of the birthday into sections. So first, the very first mentioning of a birthday in history ever. Some beliefs on what birthdays are and why they became celebrated, and reasoning for the cake, the happy birthday song, all that. We're going to break it all into nice little compartments. We're going to compartmentalize, all right? So the question is, when was the first birthday ever recorded? Well, the first birthdays that could ever be recorded had to be when calendars were created. Simple as that, keeping time. So before then, most human civilizations kept track of time from the sun, the moon, or some other important event going on. So there wasn't really much to be able to pinpoint the exact day of someone's birth, every single, cycle. So as time went on, naturally everyone aged, and they just never had the concept of real time to make a marker on a person's age. They just, got more wrinkly, more gray. So with noticing the cycles of how the moon was and the changing of the seasons repeating over and over, they started tracking times and special days. So along with this came tracking other events planned in the future and the idea of celebrating birthdays and anniversaries by years. And the tracking of these things came to be the very first primitive versions of calendars. The civilization that was really advanced for their times were the ancient Egyptians, and this was around 3000 BC when the earliest documented recording of a birthday and a birthday party was mentioned in the Bible, referencing a pharaoh's birthday. But back then, though, the birthday wasn't the date of the soon-to-be pharaoh's being born, his actual birth date when he came into the world. But it was the birthday of when they transformed into a pharaoh or a god from their, human form and when they were crowned. So the day they were crowned and became a pharaoh and a god is when that's how they tracked. That was their birthdays back then. So the mentioning of this first birthday celebration is in Genesis chapter 40, verse 20 to 22. And it says, "On the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, he made a feast for all of his servants and lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and head of the chief baker among his servants. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them." For ancient civilizations that believed in more than one god, most birthday celebrations were reserved for powerful rulers, But a lot of the common people in these civilizations still kept track of their birthdays with astrology, hoping that they could, somehow see what the future holds for them. So as calendars became worldwide, the ancient Greeks got into the actions of celebrating birthdays as well. The ancient Greeks, adopting Egyptian beliefs, believed that each person had a spirit that had a mystic relationship with God that was present during their birth, and they kept watch over them, kind of like a guardian angel. And as ancient Greeks were a pagan culture, they believed any major change, especially birthdays, brought with it evil spirits. So by lighting candles, they believe it warded off the evil spirits. Also, to ward off these evil spirits, they made sure to have friends visit, have fun, give happy and warm wishes, make lots of noise, and have a bunch of laughs to scare off any evil that may be lurking about. So the main reason for ancient Greeks to celebrate birthdays was to be a form of protection from evil spirits. The first few hundred years of the Christian church being in existence, they looked down on the celebration of birthdays as they seen it as a pagan ritual and it being related to pagan gods such as Apollo and Zeus. Then during the 4th century, with the celebration of Christmas, Jesus Christ's birthday, the Christians let go of condemning and then adopted the tradition of birthday celebrations. So at this point, most birthday celebrations were of people in power, such as kings and queens and dictators, or gods, all of that. It was until the ancient Romans when they started the tradition of celebrating birthdays of men in any class, common men, working class men, what have you. So as the Roman government would create holidays for its more famous citizens, normal Roman citizens would celebrate their birthdays with friends and families, but these birthday celebrations were only for men until the 12th century when birthdays for females were first starting to be celebrated. And fun fact here, any Roman who turned 50 years old would get a cake made of wheat flour, olive oil, shredded cheese, and honey, and be celebrated for turning 50. Now in certain religions in India, a special fire is made on a boy or girl's first birthday as they have their head entirely shaved near this celebratory fire to what is believed to cleanse the baby of any evil left over in their past lives, giving them a renewal of the soul. In Judaism, a boy has a bar mitzvah on his 13th birthday as a rite of passage into manhood, as a girl has a bat mitzvah around the same age, or maybe a little younger, 12 to 13 years old. So going from ancient Greece and Egypt, going thousands of miles over to China, the Chinese for thousands of years also recorded birthdays with their own astrological calendar based on years. Unlike astrological signs for 12 months, they have 12 different signs for 12 years until it cycles back, such as the year of the ox, year of the rat, so on and so forth. A traditional Chinese celebration for birthdays are with longevity or long life noodles. So starting during the Han Dynasty from 206 BC to 220 AD, this tradition was to bring a long life for the person having the birthday. These noodles are a big deal to the Chinese, as a long life is considered the ultimate blessing. As even in ancient times, Chinese emperors had pills of immortality made for them. So when you have a bowl of longevity noodles sitting in front of you, it may look like you have a bowl full of all kinds of noodles, but it's just one really big, long noodle. And you're not supposed to cut your long life noodle, as that would symbolizing you cutting your life short. So these noodles are a metaphor for how long of a life you're going to have. And the traditional way to eat longevity noodles is to eat the entire thing, sucking it all up into your mouth as you chew and swallow for good luck and a long life. Okay, so moving on from the origins of celebrating birthdays in general, let's look into the parts of the celebration itself and see how all the pieces to a birthday celebration came to be. So, most people associate a birthday party with the birthday cake and lighting candles, So let's start there, the birthday cake itself. As there was usually a feast during a birthday party, going back all the way to ancient times, the birthday cake really didn't come into existence until the classical Roman times, which is a very broad period of time. So we're talking 8th century BC to 5th century AD. So somewhere along the lines there, a birthday cake became a thing that people would eat when celebrating a birthday. So modern times now, the cake is served towards the end of a meal, or the cake itself is the meal, and it's served with a side of ice cream, soda pop, what have you, whatever. So the birthday cake in its first form, from ancient times to well into the 1500s AD, they were flat circles of soft baked bread infused with nuts and sweetened with honey. Back then, birthday cakes were homemade rather than made by a local baker, most of the time. And this was until German bakeries in the 1400s started expanding and baking more than wedding cakes, including birthday cakes. This is what started the modern birthday cake. And these cakes at this time were still of the usual, but now just sold and made available to buy instead of making them at home. So as these pretty primitive styled cakes were available, the birthday cakes that we know today didn't come into existence until the 1600s, when high-priced ingredients such as icing and layers of the cake were included, along with flowers and other decorations thrown onto the cake. So these new contemporary birthday cakes with the icing and all, they were available, but they were really pricey, extremely expensive due to the ingredients, and these birthday cakes were usually enjoyed by the rich and the powerful. It was until the first industrial revolution, starting in the mid-1700s all the way up until 1840, where these once really expensive ingredients to make the cake were now more available due to being manufactured by machines rather than hand. So now by the late 1800s, due to a large stock of ingredients to make the cakes, bakeries were starting to make pre-made birthday cakes available as well, instead of just custom orders. So let's make one thing clear right now. The birthday cakes that we know today that we have, they came from Germany, and by 1870, they were now commonplace and highly popular. So now we have the cake. And it's all dolled up with icing. We got your name spelled onto it. Happy birthday. Sprinkles. We got decorations. It's time to look at the candles that come along with the cake. So the usual thing these days is to put the number of candles on top of the birthday cake, coinciding with the birthday boy or girl's age. And then we're told to make a wish, but you can't say it out loud because, that will ruin the wish. So just keep it to yourself, and then you blow out the candles in one breath to make sure the wish comes true. Now, researchers at Clemson University reported that some people leave a large number of bacteria on the cake when blowing out candles. But I think that these same people are the ones who can't control their mouth properly. So I think, the birthday person who isn't completely slobbering on the cake, it's safe to eat. Just don't go whenever you blow out your candles on your birthday cake. And I think you'd be fine. The earliest origin story of lighting candles is from the ancient Greeks, when they put candles on a cake to honor the birth of the goddess Artemis on the 6th day of every lunar month. And then we have the pagan origin story of why we have candles on our cake, as the candles hold symbolic power as they're used when creating altars. So these are used on the birthday cakes to keep away evil spirits that are prone to visit people when they have a birthday, to shine a light into the darkness. And then we get to Germany in the 1700s, where candles were put on a cake during birthday parties for children for what they called Kinderfest, where kids would celebrate in an auditorium as parents looked on, as it was believed that while kids were having their fun during Kinderfest, parents would protect the outside spirits from getting in and trying to steal the children's souls. As the kids would eat, laugh, play games, and so on, their form of honoring the birthday boy or girl was merely wishing them good luck and good fortune. No gifts were expected or usually given, but if a thoughtful partygoer did bring a gift, it was a sign of good luck. And later on in future Kinderfests, flowers were a very popular birthday gift. And now looking into a little bit of the history of blowing out the candles, early traditions believe that the rising smoke after you blow out your candles takes your wishes up to God to be granted. And the idea of putting the number of candles representing every year of life of the birthday boy or girl comes from the Swiss, where they are required to be blown out individually instead of all at once. So now we have the cake, we have the candles. Now comes the famous song that we all know, and it's usually sung before the candles are blown out and the cake is being presented to the birthday boy or girl. Many people who celebrate their birthday tend to feel uncomfortable or embarrassed when being sung to, especially when it's done at a restaurant by waiters and everybody's just kind of looking at you. But some people appreciate it. I do. But a birthday cake and party really isn't complete without the birthday song being sung. So we kind of all know what the birthday song is. It's one of the top 3 most popular songs in the United States, at least. So the question needs to be asked, where did this birthday song originate from? Where did it come from? Well, we have to go back almost 130 years, a little shy of that. But in 1893, 2 school teachers in Kentucky, Patty and Mildred Hill, wrote a song called Good Morning to All to be published in a book called Song Stories for the Kindergarten. It was intended for other school teachers to play for their students at the beginning of the school day. So the song originally went, "Good morning to you, good morning to you, good morning, dear children, good morning to all." And then in 1912, there was a remix, I guess, if you want to call it that, where the melody was put over with these new lyrics that we know today as the birthday song. So the song is sung as, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear birthday person's name, happy birthday to you." So as the song Good Morning to All made little to no money after being published with the help of a man named Clayton Summey, the version of the song with the birthday altered lyrics was getting highly popular, and the younger sister of the Hill sisters noticed this, and noticed also that they weren't getting royalties from the song being used. This sister saw it and was like, "Hey, yeah, my sisters wrote that song. I mean, they didn't put the happy birthday thing to it, but yeah, they still wrote the melody." So 1933, a lawsuit was filed, and the company who published Good Morning to All, the Clayton Summey Company, wound up getting all the copyrights to Good Morning to All and Happy Birthday to You, as the Hill sisters received 1/3 of the song's royalties. So there is a lot of questions surrounding the birthday song, its copyrights and all that. The birthday song's copyright was getting tossed around like a dirty old penny when Summey passed away. His company and all of his copyrights were bought up by what would be the company Birch Tree, which was then sold to Warner for $25 million. Then Time bought Warner in 1990. Then Time Warner was bought by America Online in 2000, and then in 2010 was sold to investors who formed Warner Music Group. So movies and radio ads and so on and so forth, anything in the media, if they wanted to use the birthday song, they would have to license it from Warner, and Warner would charge from $1,500 to $50,000 to grant the license for people to use the birthday song. And it was said that Warner was making roughly $2 million a year from just royalties of the birthday song. And it was thought that Warner had the royalties to the birthday song up until 2030. But that all changed September 22nd, 2015, when a federal judge in California stated that the Hill Sisters gave Sumiko the rights to the melody and the rights to the piano arrangements based on the melody, but never any rights to the lyrics. So Warner's rights to the birthday song was stripped, and now the birthday song is recognized as public domain and is free to use. So there you go. That's a little history behind the birthday song. It's been kind of dragged through the mud a bit due to copyright stuff. So after the song is sung, the birthday boy or girl makes a wish, blows out the candles, enjoys the cake, and opens the presents gifted from the partygoers. The usual birthday party is decorated with balloons, streamers, banners spelling out happy birthday. The cake will have decorations based on who is celebrating their birthday, what they like, along with their name, and sometimes a phrase or something written into the cake. And some parties will have entertainment such as live bands, magicians, clowns, DJs, games, and dancing, just to name a few of the many activities you could have during a birthday party. Birthday party goers will also be given party favors as little gifts to help elevate the celebration of the birthday. Party favors can be anything from party horns, noisemakers, glow sticks, party hats, balloons. You know, just to have fun, make a lot of noise, and keep those evil spirits away. So as we tie this all together, wrap it all up in a neat little bow, the birthday and the birthday party is the one day out of the year that isn't tied to any obligation. It's a day where you can truly choose however you really do want to celebrate it. And restaurants will help you celebrate it too. And it's usually when someone else, tries to tell the waitress in secret that it's your birthday. You go to a restaurant and it's your birthday, and just keep an eye on the people that you're at the restaurant with. One of them's going to try to slip up and go to a waitress or the waiter and be like, hey, yeah, it's that guy's birthday or that girl's birthday. Yeah, could you come on by and bring a free ice cream or whatever they give away for free to the birthday person. So, yeah, that's just a tradition. That's just something that happens, So I believe that birthdays are awesome. And as long as calendars and time exists, birthdays will always be a fun celebration of life.